Hey guys, welcome back to the Ballpit. Another episode of the Writer's Block on the table today, which is just a show where I just talk about different creatively related topics. Now today, I want to do the super fun and not at all toxic task of reading some of comments on a previous Writer's Block I've done, specifically the one about GTA being woke and Miles Morales and all that. Because I got a couple of comments, and as I'm sure you could probably tell, they're probably incredibly nice. All right, so there's two comments I want to cover. I'm going to start with this one from, was that Litany? So the first paragraph is basically him just complaining about SpiderMan. Haven't played it, so I'm not going to take into any weight pretty much into that, because I can't confirm or deny his description, except he refers to Mary Jane as a possible trans woman? Yeah, possible trans woman, Super Mary Sue Mary Jane, and calls Peter Parker Spider Cuck and calls it Spider Cuck too. Just some real 60 IQ shit going on here. And in the second paragraph, that's where we get into the bread and butter of things, the meat and potatoes, if you will. So the second paragraph starts with, and clearly you don't understand why woke Super Mary Sues are an issue. Your terrible haircut was a good indication of that. Now, if this person's opinion on anything held any form of weight to me, the ad hominem might be a bit hurtful, but I just genuinely don't care. You can have any opinion you want on my hair. My hair's chaotic. My hair does what it wants. And I like it. I like it like that. I could get it cut shorter. I don't. I like it like this. It's the way that I choose to live my life, and I like the way I live my life. So, thanks for that ad hominem. Second sentence. The reason Mary Sues are hated so much is because, unlike male characters who are allowed to be strong or weak, good or bad, female characters can only be flawless Super Mary Sues whom are better than the evil oppressor males whom are clearly weak and must be shown just how weak they are. Now, this is an incredibly illogical, narrow, and just incorrect opinion on how women are portrayed in media. For you to say that in modern media, women are never portrayed as having flaws is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I have no idea where you're getting the grounds for that. I mean, even just on the most basic of levels, Mary Jane doesn't have superpowers, while Miles Morales and Peter Parker, the two male protagonists, do. So right off the bat, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? Right? And it's just like so when there is like a Mary Sue in a sense, to me, it's not ever like a problem with the woke politics behind it. It's just bad character design, right? That's really what it is. It's just when a character is not properly fleshed out and their weaknesses and strengths are not properly balanced. A good one that kind of comes to mind when I think of it is Rey from the last Star Wars trilogy, like the most recent one. It didn't feel like her character was fleshed out well enough, which kind of led to her being one-dimensional and lacking a lot of strong structural weaknesses, which, again, I don't think it's because they're trying to be woke in making it. I think it's just a lack of proper characterization for Rey's character. And it's, again, unless the female is straight, white, and Christian, of course, because, of course, straight, white, Christian women are only portrayed as having incredible amounts of flaws. Same with straight, white, Christian men. Only have a ton of flaws, except, like, a lot of times where that, like, doesn't happen. Right? It's so, I mean, like, do we really just need to, like, sit and just look at a list of movies and just start, like, naming the amount of times where minority characters have flaws and white characters have strengths and when women have flaws and stuff? Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? You know what? Let's just throw one out there. Let's throw out just white women that are portrayed as having weaknesses. Harley Quinn. Straight up Harley Quinn. Even like Black Widow in the Marvel movies. Like in the first Avengers, her and Hawkeye are like objectively the weakest Avengers. You know what I'm saying? Like if that was the case, she would just be like God. It'd be like, the Avengers would line up and it'd be like Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hawkeye, God, as portrayed by Ariana Grande, because God is a woman. So I don't. Again, it just feels like you don't ingest enough media, maybe, or the media you do ingest is a lot of just sensationalization of other media that you probably haven't watched, because it just feels like a very narrow-minded portrayal of modern media. Yeah, so of course, according to this gentleman, as soon as the woman is straight white Christian, she's switched from victim to oppressor and thus must be portrayed as weak and no longer a flaw. Wait, hold on. Isn't Mary Jane straight and white? I mean, what? Yeah, isn't Mary Jane straight and white? I don't know about her religious beliefs, but how many games really go into, or media in general really goes into a character's religious beliefs that often? Not that often. So you're hypocritical. You're like your 2 points are just coming back against each other right now, because diversity and inclusion means exclusion, anti-white. It's not true. As POC slash bi POCs can only be strong if the straight whites are weak, because we're all in this together. Objectively not true. All right, give an example. It's not the last movie I watched, but it's a really good movie, which is The Killers of the Flower Moon. And you can say, oh, look, the white people are portrayed as bad and the Native Americans are portrayed as good. That's a really shallow definition or way to analyze this film. If you have, a couple brain cells floating around up there, you'd be like, oh, wait, there's actual historical backing to this movie. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's like, it's like this wasn't just totally made up by Martin Scorsese. It's like there's historical, real, factual backing to this. And then, diversity inclusion being anti-white is just not true at all. Again, that's a very shallow definition. But if you actually look at minority communities, they're like the classic black sitcom is just a sitcom with black characters, and they make jokes that the black community can relate to. There's nothing anti-white about that. There's no, how many shows and stuff exist that are predominantly white people? So many movies, so many shows exist with an all-white cast. I just don't understand why as soon as minorities start getting introduced to these movies that it's now suddenly a problem. Who cares about the race of the character? Unless you're making a movie where that matters. For example, in Killers of the Flower Moon, the race of the characters absolutely matters, because these actors are portraying historical characters and as such should try to relate as closely to the source material being actual history as possible. But when you're making up fantasy characters, who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? What? Oh, Harry Potter's not white? Who cares? Genuinely, nobody. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know what? There's black British people. I know, blew your mind, right? Doesn't matter. Even if you're like, oh, well, in the books he's portrayed as white with brown hair. Who cares? Is being white important to Harry's character? No, it's not. It's really not. So, Litany just had a dumb comment and also made fun of my hair, which I didn't appreciate. Which, sir, you're probably balding. So I think there's just a tad bit of jealousy in that comment about my hair. And then in the second comment, it says, I don't know if Spider-Man 2 sucks, but I do know Miles Morales sucks. So you can already tell just from that. This can be a great comment. That's not racially motivated at all. I'm sick of them trying to push him on us. Also, Spider-Man is all about a guy who has spider powers. Since when Can a spider turn invisible and control electricity? Doesn't Marvel already have a character called Electro? All right, we're going to take these points one by one. Let's go. First point, Miles Morales being pushed on you. Oh my goodness, I almost missed it. We got to go down here. There's some comments on it, including our good friend Litany at the bottom, who's so, all right, let's take it one by one. Let's take it step by step. So that comment was made. Then there was a reply from Irish Hawk 1, who said, push him on you. Any chance that attitude would be different if Miles was white? Hashtag your casual bigotry is showing. I agree. But then our good friend Litany at the bottom came in as a response to Irish Hawk and said, what kind of retort is that? Miles Morales, aka our Lord and Savior, is clearly being pushed on us so that Peter Parker is pushed aside for a POC / by POC. You are okay with this simply because a white man whom you hate is being pushed aside, as inclusion and diversity means exclusion and anti-white. All right, let's start with Miles Morales being pushed on us and Peter Parker allegedly being pushed away. The 95, probably, maybe even more, % of Spider-Man content in the public eye, in the mainstream, is Peter Parker. All 3 Spider-Man trilogies, live-action Spider-Man trilogies, being Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, are all Peter Parker and are all white. The only set of movies that focuses on a non-white Spider-Man is the Spider-Verse trilogy, well, soon-to-be trilogy in a couple years, that focuses on Miles Morales. Furthermore, the old PS2 Spider-Man games, Peter Parker. The first Spider-Man game for the PS4, Peter Parker. And then there was a small, pretty much DLC, essentially, game that was just Miles Morales. And then this next one was both of them. And I know at the end that Peter Parker is supposed to like hang up the suit and turn it over to Miles. But to suggest that Peter's not going to play a single role in any future installments of Spider-Man games, oh, I'm getting a text. I don't want a text right now, is laughable. I don't think that's true, and I think you will be seeing Peter more. Furthermore, nobody hates Peter Parker. Nobody, like, I am supportive of Miles Morales being Spider-Man and content around Spider-Man being made with Miles Morales as the main character. And I love Peter Parker. I love Spider-Man. I've loved Spider-Man since I was a kid, man. I played the old Spider-Man games with Peter Parker back in the day. I remember being at my grandma's house and watching the Tobey Maguire ones and the Andrew Garfield ones. I love them. I'm not the biggest Tom Holland guy as an actor, so I haven't watched those movies. But that's more of a thing with me and Marvel than it is with me and Peter Parker as a character. I love Peter Parker, right? But I also like Miles Morales. You can like both. They're both Spider-Man. Spider-Man is not one person. I'm pretty sure Stan Lee, hold on. All right, here's a good quote from Stan Lee, the creator of Spider-Man, about Spider-Man. You know, one of the greatest things about Spider-Man's outfit, his costume, he is completely covered. So any kid could imagine he's Spider-Man because no color of his skin shows. He could be black under that, he could be red, he could be yellow, he could belong to any race. And that wasn't done purposefully, it was done accidentally, but I think it was the best thing we did, making him so that he could be anybody under that costume. That is the point of Spider-Man. Spider-Man is not Peter Parker. Spider-Man is Spider-Man. Different people can be Spider-Man, just in the same way that there's multiple iterations of comic characters in their history. For example, Thomas Wayne has been Batman before. It's not just Bruce. There's been like 8 Robins in its runtime. There's been multiple Flashes. You know, Barry Allen's not the only Flash. Wally West is Flash too. There's been multiple Green Lanterns. There are multiple Green Lanterns. Hal Jordan's not the only one. Hear what I'm saying? There is a She-Hulk in comic history that exists. There is female Thor in comic history. It exists. The precedent of comic book characters being a title that can belong to different identities, different people, didn't start with the recent Miles Morales content push. It's not new. It's not different. In my opinion, it's only because of Miles Morales' minority racial status that people have a problem with it. If it was the little white kid that was like Peter's cousin or something, I don't think anybody would have a problem with Miles Morales existing. It's only because of his minority status. And the second one is, since when can a spider turn invisible and control electricity? Dude, he's a super genius, right? The Spider-Man, both of them, both Peter and Miles, are supposed to be like super incredibly intelligent. In Iron Man, it's not like he just hits people with like hot clothing steamers, right? He's got nanotechnology and a bunch of different lasers and shit. Like yeah, there's different powers. Who cares? He's a genius. Let him do genius things. Who cares? Like, just genuinely, who cares? And if you don't like it, don't play the fucking game, right? Don't play the game. If you're like, oh, I refuse to ingest any Miles Morales content, don't. And if you're like, well, then I can't get my fix on my Peter Parker content. Sucks, dog. Maybe learn to like not have a deep rooted hatred towards racial minorities, and you'd probably be fine. Because you know what I do whenever I play a game as Spider-Man and it's Miles Morales and not Peter Parker. I go, okay, let me play the game, and I play the game. I just don't understand why it's a problem. I don't get it. And the whole movement or point about Miles Morales being pushed on us is ridiculous. It's crazy. It's just genuinely crazy. Peter Parker has been the go-to Spider-Man in mainstream media for decades. It's switching up is probably better. It gets some fresh stories out there. It's just people just like to find stuff to complain about. Genuinely, people just like to find stuff to complain about, and it's annoying because it happens in my comment section, which means I'm forced to read it, essentially, because when people leave a comment, I want to be like, ooh, what the people saying? And then I have to read this dog shit that makes fun of my hair. Which is not looking great right now. But again, I don't care. I had to read comments like that instead of comments from like cool people, like in other comments that I get in other videos. Just get all the losers in this one, except Irish Hawk. He's cool. They're cool. I don't know if it's a he. I didn't look at the anything, but it you know what? Whatever Irish Hawk is, at least they're cool. Because they're calling it how they see it. The hatred of Miles is, I think it's racially motivated. It's my opinion on it. Let me know your opinion in the comment section below. You can make fun of me and my hair all you want, Litany. I don't really care. I don't know you in real life. You don't know me in real life. And the only reason you're saying that is because you're behind a screen. Because if you were looking me in the eyes in person, you probably wouldn't say that to me. So it's just one of those type of things. What are you going to do? All right. I hope everybody has a great rest of their day, including the people that I just shouted out in this video. If you end up finding their accounts in whatever way, don't give them hate. Just let it go. Who really cares? There's no point in getting all up in arms about this type of thing. All right. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in another Ballpit video, hopefully.